Hi guys! Today I'm going to be talking about Aries in love. I've been doing all the signs, and then I'm going to do a corresponding video at the end of the week about Aries compatibility. So the things that we're going to talk about, we're going to go over the basics of an Aries in love, signs that they're interested, signs that they're in love, and signs that they're not interested or they've lost interest. Now I always say this, and you guys are probably sick of hearing it, but Aries are quick. Quick to come, quick to go, interested in one thing 1 second, and then on to the next. They're the first sign in the zodiac, so sometimes that's basically associated with being like the baby or the child of the zodiac. So think of like a baby or a toddler, like really quick reactions, very easily distracted, and constantly on the go for the most part, really brave without really thinking about it. Well, these things also apply to how an Aries is when it comes to love, romance, relationships. I'm not saying they don't have the ability to settle down, because that's just not true. And remember, chart, never forget that I'm just talking about the sun signs here. Also, this can be definitely applied to your moon, rising, Venus. I would personally apply it to my Venus, but yeah, your chart is what really matters. But to do, more of a generalization, that's what we're doing here today, right now. I'm just saying though that settling down is not always the easiest thing for an Aries, or it might not be their first intention. Aries can be fun. They tend to be exciting people, they're enthusiastic, they aren't afraid to take a risk either. But like I said earlier, on the other side of this, they can jump into something without really thinking it through, like a relationship. Aries are all about what's new, what's exciting, or maybe they're into something they know that they shouldn't be, or they know that they shouldn't have. They might be all about somebody initially, but it's hard for them to get that to last. And like I said, they get bored very easily. If they have something going on with somebody who's unavailable in some way, like maybe they're in a long distance thing, maybe the person that they're interested in is taken, something like that, an Aries will find this harder to resist, because it's more difficult, it's more entertaining, more, interesting and bad, but, in a sexy, fun way. And this might actually cause them to be involved for a longer period of time. And the biggest thing here is that there's no need to commit, because long distance, yes, you're committed, but it's a little bit different. And if you're with someone that's taken, or somebody you shouldn't be with, like something like that, the commitment part is not there as much, if that makes sense, I hope. Editing this now, just wanted to clarify that in a long distance relationship you can be just as committed as every other relationship, but it's a little bit easier to avoid, and that's the point I was trying to get across there. So yeah. Aries are strong and they're brave. They also like to play the role of knight in shining armor, and this is true for men and women, probably a little bit more with men or more dominant types, but it's true for both. They like to be the hero and save the day, and this is definitely true in their love lives as well. If a potential lover is in need of protecting or something like that, Aries is going to be the one that's going to step in and love doing it. That being said, Aries are not entirely selfless. In fact, at times they can be quite self-centered. They really just want their way, and when they don't get it, they can become irritated or downright angry. Again, the baby of the zodiac. Aries can be fun and, like I said earlier, exciting. But when it comes to love, they can struggle to understand that emotional side of things. They don't always understand other people on that level, and it can be hard for them to commit to people on that level, that emotional feelings level. They could show you the best time in the world, but they might not get why you're feeling a certain type of way, or, want to dive deep down with you about emotions and whatnot. Aries can be easily wounded. Yes, they tend to come across as confident, strong, brave, courageous, sure of themselves. At times, they can even be a little bit full of themselves. But at the end of the day, they're just as sensitive to criticism as the rest of us. And often, they hide the fact that they feel like they're not good enough. That being said, this can factor into them being a little bit jealous or more competitive than other signs, especially when it comes to love. They want to win, they want to get what they want, and they don't want to let anything stand in their way. This isn't usually a guessing game. Aries can be very direct. That's something that they're known for. They are typically shy when it comes to, letting you know that they think you're hot or that they want to hang out. When it comes to more serious stuff, though, that is a different story. Now, not every Aries will be that direct. Chart. But most will at the very least approach you if they're interested. Before they approach you, you might notice that they're around more often than not. If they're feeling you, they're probably going to watch you for a bit, from a distance, or maybe right up close, maybe for a few days, maybe just an hour. But Aries just tend to like games, and this part of it can be more fun for them. So Aries will either pursue you, and on that note, they love the chase, and they love anybody who's hard to get, or they'll bait you, so that you're suddenly pursuing them without even realizing it. This is not done maliciously. Aries just like to have fun, and this whole part of the romance is just fun to them. They like the games, they like that excitement. That chase is just very exciting. Now, they don't like extremely manipulating games. They just like fun, sexy, good-natured ones. Aries can be very charming people. And if they're turning on the charm for you, this can definitely be a sign that they're interested. Look for big smiles, batting of the eyelashes, winks, etc. If they're interested in you, they might put a lot of effort into staying in contact with you. They're not the type to just make a plan with you over the phone and then not communicate again until you guys meet up. Instead, so say you plan something for tomorrow, they're going to talk to you probably up until that point if they're interested. They're not just going to be like, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow night, and then not speak to you until they see you. They're going to want to text you, Skype you, FaceTime you, call you, etc. If they're putting in that effort on the regular, then they are most likely interested. Aries, like I've said, enjoys a good game. That being said, if you notice that they're flirting with other guys or girls, it's not necessarily because they're not interested in you. In fact, it might be quite the opposite. They might say something like, isn't that dude hot? Or isn't that chick smoking? Or, they might be flirting with somebody else in front of you, but keep looking at you for your reaction. The point is that they're trying to make you jealous. But if you find out they're hanging out with somebody else and it's more of a secretive thing, then that's not a sign, and that's not what I mean, or that's not what I'm talking about. Aries enjoys being single, or at least they enjoy being part of the game, part of the fun, They don't want to be left out. So it can take quite a bit for them to finally commit to someone. Did you have a big fight and now you're in a relationship? Aries might put up some sort of struggle or issue before they finally settle down with somebody, so if that's something that's happened, it actually could be a good thing. They're not just gonna throw in the towel just like that. It's gonna take a little bit before they get there. Again, Aries tend to be direct. If they love you, they'll probably just tell you. It might take a while for it to come out, but when they're ready to say it, they most likely will. Now, this comes with a bit of a but. Aries can be quite impulsive and get caught up in the moment. If things are very new and exciting for the two of you, and they drop that L word right off the bat, be cautious. Be aware. They don't always think before they speak, and often, they're caught with their foot in their mouth. I can't even reach. I can't. The visual will be weird anyways. So if you guys have had your ups and downs, and you've been seeing each other for a while, and then they say it, that's a much better sign that they actually mean it. And most likely, they probably won't drop that word until they're committed to you in some way, in a relationship or, whatever works for the two of you. They probably won't say anything until they're at that point. And if they say it very early on, just, again, be wary. And Aries might show you off. They might suddenly want everyone to know that, you're their boyfriend or their girlfriend, fiance, mailman, whatever you might be. And they have no problem using intense couple language, we did this. Are you going to join us for dinner tonight? That's our favorite movie theater. Oh my god. Terrifying. Like I said earlier, on the surface, Aries is all, bravado, bravery, strength, confidence, a little too much confidence sometimes. If they start letting their guard down around you, and letting you see, an insecurity of theirs or a fear every so often, this is a good thing. It's definitely a sign that they're taking you seriously and that they trust you. So the more they drop that tough act, even if it's just once in a blue moon, the better. Aries is similar to Pisces and a couple other signs in that they want to feel like whoever they choose to be with is the best, that is better than them in some way, they want to be able to put them on a pedestal. Aries is very competitive in nature, and they want to feel like they have the best partner out there. It might sound a little childish, but if you're the one Aries is worshipping, they're going to let you know through constant flattery, compliments, and again, they'll probably brag about you to their friends or their families or whoever, guy down the street. Wouldn't be surprised. Sometimes it might seem like too much, but honestly, it's just sweet, and it means that they definitely care about you and that they're probably serious about you. Aries will tell you everything. If they're in love. They're the type that like having the best friend and the lover rolled into one. And if you're starting to feel like their therapist at times, this is actually a good sign that they probably love you. They aren't giving you any physical affection. In some way, shape, or form, Aries always likes to give the physical affection. Whether that's a handhold, a hug, a shoulder squeeze, sex. If none of this is going on and never has, or maybe it used to and now it's not, that's not a good sign. To go along with that, you might notice that you're arguing a lot, but it doesn't end with like a passionate makeup. Like makeup sex or something like that. Because don't forget, Aries is all about the game. So sometimes you might feel like you're fighting and wonder, you know, is this the end or they don't care about me? And then all of a sudden they're back with flowers and they want to make up. And I know that's not necessarily like a good thing, but that can be how Aries is at times. So if they're just fighting with you and arguing and there's none of that, not a good sign at all. They cheat. I know that's obvious for probably every sign, but Aries really won't cheat if they're in love. So if they do and they come back to you and they're trying to convince you, oh my god, it was nothing, it was something, run. Run! They might start to make comments or get fed up with saying that you're being jealous or overbearing, trying to tell them what to do, or they always say, maybe they're telling you that you always feel the need to be right or win. This isn't good either because Aries is competitive, but they don't want to feel like you're constantly the one in front, winning, blah, blah, blah. So if they're making comments about that, just be aware. If you give Aries a reason to be jealous, like you cheated on them or did something shady, and you notice like that they're not as affectionate or things are changing, that's definitely a sign that they've lost interest, because that is something that they don't want to deal with. Like I said, they're competitive. They don't want to feel like they have to compete against other men or women to be with you. If they tell you, you know, you're not at the same point and don't want the same things, I mean, like I said, Aries can put up a fight before they get serious, but if they're not on the same page as you, it's probably not going to work out because, like I said, they can be interested in a whole array of different things and they'll go off left and right trying new things, and they want to feel like you're in it together. And if they're making comments that make it sound like you're not, definitely a sign. If they start saying things like, oh, you know, you're better than me, or they seem mopey around you, or, you know, they're like, oh yeah, you're just way hotter than me, like stuff that's just like kind of like down in the dumps, it's definitely a sign, because they like to put you on a pedestal, but they don't want to feel like you're too out of their league because they're still amazing, don't forget. So if they're acting like, you know, you're just so much, like they can't compete with you, if that makes sense, because you're just too out of their league, not a good sign. And finally, they start acting bored around you, like not paying attention, maybe they're on their phone all the time, maybe they never really paid much attention, or they just don't seem interested when you're around, or they seem like they want to be somewhere else, or they're just like nudgy. That might mean that they're not interested in you or that they've lost interest. So that is Aries in love. Make sure to check out the corresponding video at the end of this week, Aries compatibility, where I'll go through Aries with all the signs and how they match up. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, and I'll see you in that video. And as always, have a good day or night. So gross.